Hello, this is Emma and welcome to my kitchen. This is my creative introduction. I started thinking about our wonderful blackbirds and how I'd really noticed a drop in their presence in my backyard. The garden birds are so important to me. I look out of my kitchen window and it brings me such joy and connection. So I was really saddened to hear how, as a result of climate breakdown, particularly the London blackbird population had been decimated. I've noticed that this spring there'd been a return of blackbirds. It made me so happy and kind of made me think about illness and resilience and recovery, which all seems pertinent and symbolic to all of this. But then things got a bit earwormy and I couldn't get out of my head that nursery rhyme, 4 and 20 blackbirds were baked in a pie. The maid was in the garden hanging out her clothes. And down came a blackbird and pecked off her nose. So it made me think about how so much of my life now seemed to be spent at home, and about this kind of interiority, I don't know if that's a word, of kind of my physical life, obviously not all the time. I then think about 17th century Dutch painting. This painting in particular by Peter Janssen, I think that's how you say his name, also known as Linga. It just really made me think about my life. This is how I feel that I live my life a lot of the time, doing little domestic chores, sort of shuttered in at times, but then there is a view out. Prior to retreating to my domestic sphere, I tried really hard to keep going with life, with work. Hearing this, and it just felt like, oh my god, that's how I feel like I'm living my life. And it was about Ginger Rogers. He did everything that Fred Astaire did, but backwards, in a dress and heels. And that's how my life felt at the time. It was just really exhausting. It got to the point where things just stopped. I have used this image before. It's Franz Marc's The Fate of the Animals, and pencil, and I just felt very much like the deer, that everything stopped in my life and it felt really catastrophic. So life had kind of gone, it was gradual, but it had gone from living life like this to, well, not really like that all the time, but to bed socks, which was such a difficult thing to come to terms with, and still is. And so I guess life now is trying to find the middle way through this stuff. And so this is how life often feels. Man in bed, looking longingly at the clothes rail of sparkly, scrumptious things. The everlasting question of how do I marry these two elements of myself together? I have used this image before. It's still from Mark Edwards' performance, What Have You Done to Deserve This? And weirdly, the last time I printed it out, something odd happened with my printer. I can't believe the same things happened this time. And it's like there's prison bars, which just makes me think about my mind, and that is also part of the battle. Finding meaning and purpose in life has always been mildly problematic for me, and now it's more problematic. Finding motivation to be creative is something that I do struggle with. Creativity needs to have, it sounds really odd, a kind of a sense of purpose. It's not so much about a final product, an outcome. Maybe it's about kind of meaning, which seems to be so connected to my existence. That sounds a bit melodramatic. And so I'm very grateful for crochet. Over time it's developed for more purpose. So trying to make cat blankets for the cats who are in shelter. I have a sporadic engagement with craftivism, struggle saying that word. In crochet, this is 0 hours symbol, and then this was to support Clive Lewis's water bill, his private members bill, along with my poo stick. I didn't crochet Pooh Bear, with my poo sticks, which I took along to the Houses of Parliament, which didn't go down terribly well. So yeah, that's where I feel I can engage with creativity, kind of gives me meaning. And what really inspires me, sorry, this is not a very, trying to capture it all. What really inspires me is nature, protecting our creatures, our planet, social injustice. And that helps me to engage in the world and at times my creativity.